Yeah, any international student. So I will talk from the perspective of international students, because this video is intended to be for international students. So majority in majority of the colleges, universities, any international student who is admitted is genuinely given this scholarship. So it can be given in 3 or 4 different formats. One of them is teaching assistantships. So you will be liable to teach students, and in return, you will be getting some stipends. And that may range differently depending on the city you live in. For example, in the UC systems, there are 10 universities, and the stipends really do vary depending upon the living expenses and so on. Other way of funding is the PI or the principal investigator has enough money to fund you. So, and through different grants, the grants like the National Institute of Health, you international students don't get these grants, but PI does get it, and they can reallocate the money to their students. The third way is to to apply for external fellowships, and that are very limited to international students. So once you get admitted, you can then be an international student in a US university. So you are liable to some of the fellowships. So you can get those fellowships, and you can say, okay, I don't want to do the TA ship, so I can get the money from other agencies. And when you get some fellowship, when you do the TA thing, PhD students normally don't have to pay for either the health insurance and the quarter or trimester semester fees.
Mm-hmm.
So fees normally like we don't pay. It's being
Yeah.
paid from the university side.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
these are the different ways in which you can gather the fellowships or stipends.
Yeah. So the stipend which you are getting there, how you will be able to manage this?
Oh, we get around 34 to 36 thousand dollars in a year,
Mm-hmm.
and that gives you a kind of comfortable living. I won't say it's much, but I
Mm-hmm.
won't rather say it's less. It's kind of okay if you're living as a student and don't have and doesn't have much luxury.
Mm-hmm.
If you can afford a single room. You can afford non-sharing washroom, but you cannot afford a single house on your own. So yes, and if you cook your own food, you're saving some money. As you know, like I drive, so I have to give a lot of other expenses like insurances and other stuff. So you can save all those things if you don't own a car or a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the advantages for international students. They generally don't spend on cars and stuff, so they can use some public transport, which is free for students here in San Diego. So living expenses, if you're living in grad housing or if you're living with a shared apartment, then it's doable. Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah.
But as a PhD student, my advice would be not to save, uh, because even though if you're saving kind of like $300 or $400, that's the max you can go for. And if you can accumulate all these expenses, that makes $5,000 a year. And in the entire PhD tenure, that is approximately $25,000. But if you just spend on money to get a good housing, you could do a lot more than what you think is possible. In a PhD life, the most important thing is the peace of mind and your seclusion from people when you want to be alone and think the right thing for your PhD. So you rather don't save that money and invest in yourself. You could land up in a job much better than, and you could just get more than $25,000. You can just increase your bar
Mm-hmm.
level. So that's the thing. In a PhD life, someone asked me, how much are you saving? I would say, just don't save. You will
Yeah.
have many more opportunities in your way. Just utilize your life like a student, and just, yeah, you're a student. You don't have to save for now. But so stipends are generally okay in all universities. So it ranges from, I've seen around $18,000 also. Like in the states in Arizona, there are universities which can go up to $20,000, and also in institutions like Princeton and Harvard, which they tend to $38,000. So the range is wide, but also the places are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
where there are higher stipends.
Yeah. So Anand, coming to your profile, as we have discussed, can you elaborate on the fellowship which you have taken, different fellowships, how to apply them? So can you
Okay,
elaborate on this? Yeah.
here's the thing. So, as I said, once you enter any university,
Mm,
so there are three levels of fellowships or scholarships you would generally meet. One is the institutional level fellowship.
mm,
Like there are many alumni over the past 60, 70 years for any university, which is like really established. So
mm,
these alumni have some kind of foundations and so on. So they generously give some fellowships based on based on the merits or the ability to the students. So whenever a student reaches the university, he or she should search for those institutional fellowships and just apply them. And because it doesn't discriminate between the different like the nationalities, so it's easier to apply and maybe it's easier to get as well.
mm,
So these are the institutional fellowships, like the departmental fellowships, the fellowships for people of color and so on. Then you go on to the national fellowships, and national fellowships are basically meant for US citizens and residents or green card holders. So there are very, very few national fellowships for the international students. The reason why I'm saying that because the government of China has and the government of India. Let's discuss on these two, which kind of there are more students coming from China, India. So Chinese government has a lot of fellowships for Chinese students, so they often don't go for these fundings. And as far as Indian fellowships are concerned, they are like very few. They are very, very limited in number. Like the SCRB fellowships, the Science and Engineering Research Board fellowships, there are limited institutions you can apply to, and if you get a PhD, these SCRB would fund you. Like the University of Irvine is there, then the University of British Columbia, and so on. So you have to go to the SERV website and you need to search. If you so they are like, if you get into these universities, then they might give you the fellowships. Then comes the American fellowships for international students, and they are also very, very limited in numbers. And you have to be very active in searching for those
mm,
people who are working in theoretical physics the way I am working on. So I'm working in uh, on a broad level, you can say, biophysics. So, and also I work on interfaces of quantum mechanics and statistical physics. So there was a scholarship which I was actively finding some external fellowships, and then I found this molecular scientific software institute. So it's called MOLSI fellowship, and it's very, very competitive. I think around 6 or 7 students get every year, and it's biannual fellowship. So you need to keep on searching for those fellowships which is applicable for international students, and they are like very few. One of them is the American Heart Association Fellowship, whose research is on related to the heart diseases. Then one is the Cancer Fellowship, the National Cancer Agency Fellowships. They are also for international students, but they are very few. They are very limited in number. So one is the no, that one is for American citizens. So you need to be very active and need to search for these. Also, there is like students who are already doing their PhD in the US universities can have option for going to Germany for short-term research, and that is, you already know, it's like the DAAD DART fellowship and so on. So
yeah.
you need to keep searching and be vigilant about all those fellowships, because it's not only for the point of getting fellowships, it's they are prestigious and they add to your CV. And when you apply for industrial jobs or you apply for postdoctoral fellowships, they really do mean a lot, and you should keep applying them.
Yeah.
So
First,
yeah, there
yeah.
are three levels which we should always keep a track on.
Yeah. But suppose if you are getting some fellowship or this stipend from your department, so are you eligible to apply for these fellowships?
Yes, but what would happen is, for example, if you're getting $30,000 and you're getting kind of $20,000 from an external fellowship, so you'll be given like $10,000 from the department. But on the contrary, if you get more than that, like let's say you get $40,000, then nothing will happen. You will get $40,000.